I just learned the two most mind-blowing things about my health that totally changed my life for the better, and it could change yours too. One of them could save your life, and the second one could be the cure of what I thought, wrong, was a lifelong nuisance of a health problem. Let's start there. Nocturia. That's peeing at night. I used to have to get out of bed 5 times a night just to relieve myself so that I could go back to sleep. But not anymore. I fixed it. I sleep right through the night now. It's incredible. I know it sounds like a commercial, but it's so shocking to me that I'm making this video to share with the world. And here it is. Did you know that your brain can secrete a hormone that regulates your urine? Yeah, it controls whether your body makes pee or not while you sleep. What happens is this hormone sends a message from your brain to your kidneys and says, hey man, this human is asleep. Stop making pee. And it does. And what happens is when your body stops making pee, your bladder doesn't fill up and you don't get the urge to go. And this hormone is called Vasopressin, or ADH, anti-diuretic hormone. Diuretic is just a fancy word for something that makes you go pee. For example, if you have high blood pressure, your doctor might prescribe a diuretic, a pill that makes you pee out your salt so it's easier for your heart. Well, there's good news and bad news. The good news is it works normally and naturally. The bad news is you have to be having good, deep REM sleep. That's REM. Not the rock band, but rapid eye movement. It's a good, deep cycle of sleep. And that brings me to sleep apnea. That's the second part of this. Okay, now this is the part that could save your life or the life of your loved ones, your parents, an uncle, or friends. So 54 million Americans and 1 in 5 Canadians have sleep apnea, and they don't even know it. So left untreated, severe sleep apnea could result in heart attack, stroke, dementia, and Alzheimer's disease. And trust me, you don't want any of that. So that's what I didn't know. I thought, wrong, sleep apnea has to do with sleep. Nobody ever died from losing a little bit of sleep, right? Wrong. It's not about the sleep. It's about lack of oxygen. So let's start there. What exactly is sleep apnea? Simply put, sleep apnea is a condition where during different moments of the night while you sleep, you stop breathing. Now, why does this happen? Well, as we get older and fatter, your neck muscles relax and your tongue, and at certain points of the night, it blocks your air pipe and you can't breathe. That's what sleep apnea is. Not being able to breathe at certain points of the night while you sleep. And what quite often happens is, the way people first discover it is they wake up in a start and they have this choking kind of sound, because what's happened is they've fallen asleep, muscles contract, and at some point they can't breathe and they immediately wake up and finally catch their breath. What's happening there is the brain is on red alert, saying, hey man, I can't breathe, wake up. And it startles you up so that you can breathe again. And when you can't breathe, when your brain and your heart are starved for oxygen, bad outcomes. So what are the symptoms of sleep apnea, and what's the medical process for diagnosing you? So some of the symptoms are snoring, gasping, choking, pauses in breathing. So a big clue is a snorting sound, followed by silence, followed by snoring and breathing again. So it's kind of like silence, and then breathing again. So a big symptom for you is if you wake up in a panic and catch yourself gasping for air, and your heart is beating, racing a mile a minute, and you're probably in a panic, that is a huge sign. And what is happening there is you can't breathe, you're sleeping, so you don't know you can't breathe, but your brain is saying, hey man, red alert, I can't breathe, wake up. So it wakes you up so that you can breathe again. Another symptom is dry mouth, This indicates that you're a mouth breather and it dries the inside of your mouth. And of course, other symptoms are peeing at night. We talked about that, nocturia, and headaches and daytime dizziness, that dozy feeling. And I hate to say it, but you might doze off at your desk when you're working, or heaven forbid, you doze off at your car at the wheel. So that's another important reason why you want to diagnose and take care of sleep apnea. So how do you confirm if you have sleep apnea or not? Okay. Your doctor will probably send you for what I call a sleep test, but it's known as a polysomnogram or a PSG. And what happens is you go over to a sleep clinic. It could be a hospital or a clinic in a building, and you literally sleep over. And what they do is they book you an appointment. You show up at 7 or 8 o'clock, and they tape or glue wires to your head, body, legs, and all the wires are connected to a little box that you sleep beside all night. Yes, it's kind of inconvenient with all these wires around you and trying to sleep, but you got to do it. So what happens is there's also a camera and audio, a microphone, so they can hear you, whether you're snoring and how you're breathing and snorting or choking. And they also can see, they want to see if you roll around or if your legs kick. So they want to be able to have that information so they can help diagnose you. So at the end of the study, they generate a big report and they tell you, well, if you have sleep apnea or not. There's more to it than that, but that's beyond the scope of this video. So the next step is you talk to a sleep expert and they will try to fix your situation. So the solution, you will probably need a CPAP machine. CPAP. It stands for continuous positive air pressure. Okay? And what happens is it blows air into your nose or your nose and mouth, depending on the mask you wear. We'll get to that. And it helps you breathe when your passage is blocked. Okay? Now, here are some things that I wish I knew before I went into this. First, the machine won't work if your nose is plugged. I had this weird thing where I was fine when I was up and about and just, going through my life. But the moment I lay down in a supine position or horizontal, my nose got plugged. It's weird. I couldn't breathe when I lay down. So that means I couldn't breathe through my nose when I slept. So that made me a mouth breather. But the problem is when my nose is plugged, the machine can't blow air. So I found that to be a problem. Now, here's a big thing, but this shouldn't dissuade you. Most people have difficulty when they first wear the CPAP machine. And hey, I confess, I was one of those people. I couldn't breathe. I was so frustrated that I didn't use the machine for a year. Yeah, can you believe it? The machine literally sat on my dresser gathering dust. And it wasn't until that sleep doctor or sleep specialist said, hey, it could lead to heart attack, stroke, Alzheimer's disease, and dementia that I smartened up and forced myself to get used to it. Okay, so it's important. Now, there are things they can do to make it easier for you to adjust. Like one of them I didn't know was called ramp time, and that's the air pressure. See, the higher the air pressure, the harder it is for me, at least for me, I don't know about others, to breathe out. Breathing in is no problem. That's what the machine is supposed to do, facilitate or make it easier for you to breathe in. But when I'm breathing out, I find it hard to push out, okay? So what they do is called ramp time. They lower the air pressure when you're falling asleep, and then when you fall asleep, they bump up the air pressure to where they need it, okay? So they can adjust that. And the other thing that you can adjust or choose is the different type of masks. I didn't know that. I thought there was only one. They gave me a full face mask, like, the pilots and stuff. But I hate those. So I switched to just my nose, and it's fine. Okay? You will get used to it. Now, the important thing, and I've already said this twice, is sleep apnea can lead to really bad outcomes. So as difficult as it might be, I strongly recommend that you try and get used to it and wear the CPAP machine if you, in fact, have sleep apnea. Okay, so I hope this helps. It's important, and it could be urgent to your life or the life of your parents or someone you love. And I hope this information enhances your life like it did mine. Okay, so take care of yourself. This is Wayne Lamb TV.